Wow. A power couple just got engaged to be married, well, at the end of April. So how awesome is that? Harry Styles and Zoe Kravitz. I'm really, really excited for them, and I hope you are too. So let's take a look at the numerology, which might make them a power couple. Let's take a look. Hi, everybody. It's Lori from Numerology with Lori. I hope you will like and subscribe. Feel free to do so. It's free to do it. Um, and it really helps me with the algorithm. It helps me because I'm a new channel. So yeah, let's get this thing going. Anyway, so Harry is an eight life path and Zoe is a three life path, and they work well together. The difference between them is a five. So you have to be a little bit careful about the freedom, the adventure, the change that might happen within a relationship. But Zoe is an excellent communicator because she's got that three going on. She's also a very, Harry enjoys being around her because she's got a very joyous way of living, and she's a very happy person. Harry, on the other hand, has uh, a little bit of a power information. I don't know what you would call it, but he's got a power aspect, let's say, and he's very good financially and with business. So I want to talk a little bit about a story. I was watching a Saturday Night Live episode, and it was Ryan Gosling that was hosting. And I love Ryan Gosling, so I wanted to make sure I watched it. But one of the things that he brought to attention of the people that were there was that Harry Styles was in the audience, and the whole bit was just hysterical. It was during his monologue or his introduction, whatever, but it was very good. And one of the songs that he talked about was Sign of the Times, and then they sang Sign of the Times, and it was just kind of funny. But anyway. So that was my first experience with Harry Styles, and I've been obsessed with looking into him ever since then. So I really wanted to do this YouTube celebrity numerology, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So his destiny number, Harry's, is a nine. So letting go of what doesn't serve him. That's kind of a good um, aspect to have. He's also a true humanitarian with that nine. He's a great finisher. The humanitarian could be somewhere where he's interested in climate change. He might be interested in global, because normally a humanitarian, somebody with a nine, is interested in global harmony in some way. So I'm glad to see that for him. Very glad to see that with for him, especially combined with that eight life path. He can do a lot with the financial backing, the opportunities. He creates opportunities for that. So yeah, that's a good number for him to have in the destiny. And his soul number is an eight. It feels like his heart's desire is about gaining power, financial success, and business opportunities. So you combine that with the nine destiny number, and yeah, he's a very he's an important person to watch in the future. My feelings, anyway. So let's see. His personality number is a one. Other people see him as a leader. They see him as someone who is a charismatic starter. Ooh. He's also a really good new beginning person. So when something, and this is the year for him, 2026. So if that one is significant at all in his the personality number, this would be the good year for him to be able to start some new projects, start some, and obviously one of the newest projects he started was getting engaged to be married. Interesting, right? Let's see. His maturity number is interesting to me. And that is combined by adding the eight of his birth number, which of course is 2/1/1994, and that adds up to 26. So 2 plus 6 equals 8. And you add his destiny number, which is a 9. And that comes from all the letters in his name. Let's take a look at that again real quick. Um, so Harry Edward Styles, and that's Styles with a Y. So feel free to take a screenshot of this if you want to. So that's for both people. Hmm. I'm going to try to take that below there so it gets past that little light. Anyway, so that's Harry, and again, his middle name is Edward. So that's where that the destiny comes from. It comes from the whole birth certificate name, which is Harry Edward Styles. So when you add it all up, all those numbers added to a number that added to 9, because numerology requires a 1 through 9 number, unless it's a master number or a karmic number. So we talked about that. We'll talk about it again, but this is not a karmic number, and he's a 9 maturity number. I'm sorry, a 9 destiny number. 9 plus 8 equals 17. So 7 plus 1 equal 8. So his maturity number, meaning the number that so it's not the destiny number, but the number that he grows into is his 8. So at this point in time, he might be sort of giving his power away. It might be important for him to learn to keep his power and realize what he can do with the power in terms of humanitarian efforts and that sort of thing, and or even in his own life, business opportunities. One of the things that I found to be really interesting, and we'll talk about it again in his third pinnacle, but first pinnacle, which was the 3, and the challenge was the 1. So something that he did, he was part of One Direction, but during a hiatus that they had, he branched out and he had a solo tour, which reveals that he handled the 1 very well. So he's very good and very well known for a song, well, a few songs, but the one that I've heard of most often is called Sign of the Times. I feel like that's kind of a good place for him to be. Like he's moving forward with, well, that's if you're into lyrics of songs. I am. So I just feel like he handled the 1 challenge there very, very well. He also had a lot of positive energy. Uh, Happiness, joy of living. He was very joyful in the way he handled life. And that's all from the pinnacle of the 3 pinnacle, and the challenge again being the 1. So then the second pinnacle, which he's in right now, is the 6 pinnacle. Interesting, because the 6 is about marriage, a divorce, family, love. There he is getting engaged in a 6 pinnacle, which, I find that to be really interesting. Um, the second pinnacle did start for him at age 28, and he'll continue with that until age 37. Um, so let's see. He's engaged to be married. Yes, we talked about that. The challenge of the 4 reveals that he might take a break here. Maybe, maybe not, because the 4 means that he's a hardworking person. In this second challenge, let's see. I'm going to show them to you again just so that you have it here. So you can see where his pinnacle right here is the 6 and the 4. So the pinnacle is the 6 and the 4 is his challenge. That's his second the second period. So the fact that that 4 is in the place where it is at the age that he is tells me that he understands the process of hard work, but he's going to get more opportunities now, which stands to reason. But is he going to know enough to take a break? Is he going to burn out? We don't know. We won't know. But that four indicates that it's possible that he may work too hard. He may, but we know that he needs to take a little bit of a break in between, especially with a new, to plan the wedding and to getting married and spending time with your future wife. That would be important to that. So let's see. Maybe based, but based on how is okay. So the next pinnacle is a nine. That's the third pinnacle, and that starts at about age 37 to 38 and goes on until about age 46. So that's a 9 year period. And again, we talked about that. Numerology reduces to a 1 through 9, specifically in the pinnacles and challenges. Well, anywhere. So the challenge number is the nine. The pinnacle rather is the nine, and the challenge is a three. So it sounds like he struggles to find his joy in that third challenge. So again, we know that the pinnacle is a nine and the challenge is a three. So it's possible the nine is indicative of letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore. It could also be indicative of something ending. It might be. It could be something very mundane. Um, Maybe he is not a singer anymore. Maybe he goes into acting, something like that. So there's a change. There's something ending and something shifting. Um, but finding his joy is important. Now, the challenge doesn't mean that you can't find it. You can. He can find that the joy of living, the need for communication, but it will be a challenge for him to do it, but he can. We know he can because in the first pinnacle, his pinnacle was a three. So we know that if it's a challenge number, it can be done. So so let's see. I'm not sure what it is, but it's okay. The fourth pinnacle is a seven. And that starts about ages 46 to 47, and that goes on through the rest of his life. The challenge is again a three, which is very interesting to me. So if he already experienced a three challenge, it tells me that he might understand the lessons of the three challenge a little bit more and that he can continue to do this correctly. So let's see what happens with him. The seven energy is a little on the lonesome side. It feels like he may need to work on learning to live again somehow. I'm not sure what that means, but that's what it feels like. That's what those energies in these two pinnacles remind me of. They make me feel that way. Um, so and with the number three, he needs to find his joy. So let's keep our fingers crossed for Harry Styles because I like him a lot and I think he's a good person. So let's talk a little bit about Zoe. Zoe has the three life path and her destiny is a 16-7. Interesting because that's love karma. It's she did somebody dirty in love in a past. Now, in my opinion, it's a past life because she brought it with her into this lifetime. She brought it with her. It's part of her um, birth date reductions, that kind of thing. It's part of her name reductions. It's the destiny number. So all of the numbers all the way across, and her name is Zoe Isabella Kravitz. Very interesting. So Isabella is an extremely different name to have as a middle name, but and that was on her birth certificate. So when you add that all the way across, it comes to a 16-7. Um, so I'm not sure if it will affect this relationship between her and Harry, but the good news is they both have very similar numbers. So her soul number is a 10 or it reduces to one. So we know that again, numerology always reduces to one. But what I find interesting is that 10, and it's a true 10. So it tells me that that she has the ability in this lifetime to end the karma that she came in with. And the karma that she came in with was the 16-7. There's nothing else in her chart that I see. So that 16-7 is important for her to recognize. And hopefully she's in a love relationship. I feel like they're in a love relationship now. So again, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for Harry and Zoe. Um, so yeah, and keep in mind also that the current universal year is a 2026. So 2 plus 2 plus 6, well, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 equals 10. It's a true 10. And again, it's an ending of karma. Everyone will experience this. So she's got two opportunities this year to end it. She's got the opportunity in her soul, and she's got the opportunity in this particular year, which is 2026. She should keep that in mind, in my opinion. Um, Her love for Harry may be the thing that helps her to get out of the karma. Maybe. At least it will help her to work on the trauma that brought her here to have this karma. Um, The personality number is a 6, which is so interesting to me, because the personality number is ideally how someone it looks at you. Other people look at her. So they see her as a nurturing person, somebody who is of service, someone who is marriage, divorce, family, love, all of those things. It's very important for Zoe, because that's exactly how people see her. Finally, her maturity number is also a 6, which I find fascinating. So it tells me that the maturity number, she grows into understanding the 6 better. So is she getting there? Yeah. Will this relationship with Harry bring her there? Not sure. But again, let's keep our fingers crossed for them. I feel like very positive that they are a good power couple. Um, with her communication skills and his desire to change global, to make global changes. Ugh, yeah, I just feel really good for them. I got chills. Um, so let's keep our fingers crossed. I literally wrote that down. So I wanted to talk to you about her pinnacles and challenges. Her first pinnacle was a 4. So we can see that here. I can't remember which one she's in now, but so we can see at the bottom, here's her pinnacles and challenges. Pinnacles and challenges. So the first one is a 4. Yep. So her first pinnacle is a 4 and the challenge is a 2. For a younger person, the 4 can be daunting, but it's especially good for learning process. I feel like that's something that would have been important, especially with somebody with a 3, because the 3 sometimes has so much joy of living that you don't learn the process that's necessary for living life. You can't just get in there and say, "Oh, I want to go here," and then be there. You have to follow a process to get there. So that's something I feel like she may have learned in her early part of her life, which isn't a bad life lesson, not at all. The 2 challenge tells me that she needs to work or needed to work hard at developing her relationships. Her parents are Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz. If you're in our age bracket, Lisa Bonet was part of a really successful sitcom, and Lenny Kravitz was a wonderful singer. So they divorced when she was 3. That was rather tough on Zoe, I'm sure. But they loved her. That's the most important thing. And eventually, I think she's getting to that point where she understands that um, their love for her is what was most important. But I'm sure it was tough growing up with divorced parents. Oh, the good news is, this is just amazing to me. I mean, Jason Momoa was with Lisa Bonet and was her stepfather for a long time. I don't think they're together anymore, but they were together for a long, long time during the time period after the divorce. So, yeah, she maybe didn't realize it, but Jason Momoa, yeah. So anyway, her second pinnacle was a 9 and the challenge was a 7. So interestingly enough, she is just leaving that pinnacle and she's going into the third pinnacle. But I will say that the number 9 is again an ending. And the 7 is lonesome. It might be in this case, it was a necessary way to be alone for her. The 9 ending, I did look this up a little bit, and this is the impression that I got that she divorced her first husband during this time period. So that ending could very well have been that divorce, which makes the most sense to me. It makes the most sense to me. And the 7 is I hate to use these words, but it's kind of self-imposed, which makes sense because I don't know about you or if you've been through a divorce. I personally have been, and there is a period of mourning there. There is a period of like, this isn't what I expected it to be, and it makes me sad. So, um, I'm sure that's where what she feels. Uh, let's see. Let me see. The third pinnacle is a number 4 again, and the challenge is a 5 this time. So this starts for her about ages 37 to 38. We talked about this before, and it will go until she's about 46. Process could be the pinnacle reason here. It's definitely hard work for sure, and hard work that she wants to do. The problem, as I see it, is that the 5 uh, the 5 is issues around freedom, change, adventure. So if she is in travel, even, so it could be that she needs to maybe it's a positive thing. Maybe it means that there's going to be some additional freedom changes, that sort of thing, along with her hard work or to do with her hard work. That's one way of looking at it. It also could mean that the hard work keeps her from doing some of the things that she would like to do. So again, let's just keep our fingers crossed for Zoe Kravitz. Um, so her last pinnacle is a 2, and the challenge is the 5 again. So I want to just share with you that that 2 is made up of a 1 plus 1. Typically, with pinnacles, we don't look at the fact that whether or not there are master numbers, but I want to bring it to your attention because I feel like because it's her last pinnacle, she could really go through a spiritual awakening at this point in time. And the 11 is very indicative of spiritual awakenings. And the 11 is a master number, but it's also very indicative of, in her case, it's indicative of her focus on relationships because of the 2. So when you add the 1 and the 1 together, you get a 2. So not sure what relationship that's going to be. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that it's Harry, but let's wait and see what happens there. The challenge is the 5 again. And again, this is issues with change, with freedom and adventure. And hopefully her previous 5 cycle helps her for a second 5 challenge. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's hope for the best there. So I'm super happy for this power couple with the life path of 8 and a life path of 3. And only the future would tell what's going to happen with them. So please be happy, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here.